Hey there guys, Brian Henny here, and a lot has happened over the last few weeks since my last video, including me becoming a Donald Trump supporter. I'm kidding. This hat actually says, "Make Donald Trump again, not make America great again." It's from last week tonight with John Oliver on HBO. The real support lies here with my Bernie Sanders shirt. It's the Shepard Fairey version. And yeah, but what's really happened over the last few weeks, there have been a number of primaries, including my home state here of Pennsylvania. We had our election on April 26th, along with Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And those went basically as expected. I made predictions about that. I've been having some technical difficulties, which is why I haven't had put any videos up, but I did post my predictions on Twitter. And it was mostly correct. I got all of them right on who I thought would win. Not all of the exact numbers were right. Hillary Clinton won Delaware by more than expected. Bernie Sanders won Rhode Island by more than expected. Some of them on the Republican side, Trump won by different margins that were slightly different than what I thought, but all of them were over 20, just like I thought. None of them were close on the Republican side. It made sure that Donald Trump was the only one that was going to be able to get the nomination before the convention. And so I guess once Ted Cruz realized that he had no path forward to the nomination, that's what led to him making this shocking announcement about the future of his campaign.
After a great deal of time and thought, after a great deal of consideration and prayer, I have come to the conclusion that if I am nominated to be President of the United States, that I will run
6 marathons in a row, because that's just as likely,
on a ticket with my vice presidential nominee, Carly Fiorina.
So yeah, it was shocking, but maybe not in the way that people would have thought. Maybe if he would have suspended his campaign then, that would have been less surprising than him announcing his running mate, because, you know, the time to announce your running mate is usually after you can't win anymore. That makes total sense. Just for a week, and then, because then he comes out with this announcement also about his campaign a week later after Indiana.
From the beginning, I've said that I would continue on as long as there was a viable path to victory. Tonight, I'm sorry to say, it appears that path has been foreclosed. Together, we left it all on the field in Indiana. We gave it everything we've got. But the voters chose another path.
So yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what Ted Cruz was thinking with that. I don't know. I guess it was some sort of strategy to try to turn things around, as some people called it. I mean, he couldn't win. Mathematically, he could not win. If he had won Indiana with 100% of the vote, he still would not have been able to win the Republican nomination unless it was a contested convention. So I don't know why people are talking about Indiana being his last stand, and, you know, he decides to suspend his campaign after it seemed that there was no path forward after Indiana. If he had won Indiana, oh yeah, then obviously he could still win, except that it's not mathematically possible. But it was after Indiana. Yeah, that was the problem. So that was odd that he decided to do that. John Kasich, the day after Ted Cruz suspended his campaign, John Kasich suspended his campaign, and he was irrelevant, so I'm not going to show anything with that or really talk about it. And on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton won 4 or 5 on April 26th. Bernie Sanders just won Rhode Island. Some of them were close, but nonetheless, it was good for Hillary Clinton. It brought her one step closer to the nomination, although Bernie Sanders has won Indiana and West Virginia since then. But those are not as big as Pennsylvania, or just the fact that there were 5 states that day and Hillary Clinton won 4 of them. So she has been gaining, her lead has been increasing, but she hasn't wrapped it up yet. Although Bernie Sanders can't win conventionally, he can't win on pledged delegates. But at the same time, Hillary Clinton needs, I believe, about 75%, 3/4 of the remaining delegates, pledged delegates, to get the nomination. You know, a lot of people like to include the super delegates. If you include them, she only needs like a little over 100 to get the nomination, but superdelegates don't vote yet, so I don't count them. So in pledged delegates, it's unlikely that either of them are going to get it, so this is most likely going to go to the convention. So having said that, I'm not going to be doing any more videos about the Republican primaries. They're going to continue, but we're going to know the results of all of them, really. They're going to end up, Trump's going to win all of the remaining Republican primaries, so there's no point in making predictions or previewing them or anything. But I will be previewing the Democratic side still going forward, because that one is still competitive. You know, I know a lot of people, now that Trump has gotten the nomination on the Republican side, a lot of the people in the media have been basically saying it's over, it's Trump versus Hillary, and that's likely. That's likely to happen, but it's not over. I don't know why they've just given up. They're basically not even covering the Democratic side as if it's officially over too, but it's not. It's unlikely that Bernie Sanders is going to be the nominee, but they're covering it as if it's impossible, and it's not impossible. It's more possible than the chance of Ted Cruz being the Republican nominee even as long as a month ago. So, you know, they covered that like it was still realistically, like, or even likely. So, you know, I think that they've basically decided now that the Republican race is over, the fun race, they're just going to act like it's general election mode and just not even care about the Democratic side, which they've been doing all along anyway. And it's pretty messed up. It's stupid, but nonetheless, I'm going to be talking about the Democratic side and covering everything up until the even further than the June 6th election, because Washington, D.C. actually votes a week later. So, yeah, I mean, Bernie Sanders has a very good chance in California, New Jersey. He has a chance in Oregon. Like, all the states going forward, Bernie Sanders is doing well in. So that's not to say that he's likely to be the nominee, but he has a really good chance of keeping Hillary from getting the nomination before the convention. And then who knows what could happen between now and the convention. It's over 2 months away, so I'm not going to make any assumptions now like a lot of people are. So anyway, the Republican side's over, the Democratic side's still going. I'm going to be covering those going forward. And yeah, I guess just comment your thoughts down below, what you think about the primary, how it's gone, you know, now that it's nearing the end, the Republican side is over. What do you think the general election matchup is going to be, and who you think would be a better candidate against Donald Trump now that he's officially the Republican nominee, or at least prohibitive Republican nominee, barring something unforeseen happening, and why you think that. And yeah, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.